Hello, my name is Ian Cahill, and Madison Smith has asked me to answer a few questions about my process of writing my first novel, Pencil. First question is, what are some of the things that inspire me in my everyday life? Um, Really, I tend to write slice of life type of stories that can actually happen to people. So I get my inspiration from just about anywhere, whether it's, the person that sells me a bagel in the morning, or a song I hear on the radio, or the people around me, or maybe something I hear in passing, walking down the street. Um, Really, you can be inspired by just about anything. You wake up in the morning, if the sun is shining or there are storm clouds, I can generally find something or some angle to find a story. Um, so really, don't hold yourself back thinking that you have to find your muse or be super inspired because some of the littlest, most insignificant things make the most interesting details. What inspired me to write this particular book? So, Pencil is actually one of two novels that I finished in the last 6 months. It was the first one that I finished, and really I was inspired um, to write this book in 30 days as part of the National Novel Writing Month. And my entire writing group participated. And I kind of got the idea of just thinking about. Um, so, Pencil is the story of a man who enters into a government program that forces him to write one sentence a day for the lifespan of three pencils. Um, so this story has just kind of come up as a concept of I knew I wanted to do some kind of science fiction story, but I didn't think I would really be the person to write, a big space opera or some fantastical robot fantasy. So I wanted to stick with something that seemed realistic, but also was kind of an allegory on humanity. So that's sort of what inspired me, and being a writer and exploring, the idea of the common everyday person, spilling their thoughts out on paper is just kind of fascinating to me, and sort of the implications behind one's own thoughts. Has writing always been my passion, or is this a new creative outlet? I feel like, yes, writing has been a passion of mine for a very long time. I've been writing stories since I was in grade school. When I was in high school, I always wanted to be a writer. I wrote short stories. I was on the staff of the literary magazine. Um, I minored in creative writing in college. It's always something that I kind of took with me and wanted to pursue. Um, but as far as writing a novel, something a longer piece or a longer story like that, I never really thought that I had it in me until very recently. Last April I joined a writing group and got a lot of inspiration and a lot of confidence to actually go and fulfill that dream of writing a novel. And I've been able to finish two of them since last April, so I'm really excited about that. Explain my creative process writing Pencil. So, in the past, I've struggled to write a novel um, of any sort of length. So I think what helped me writing Pencil was really just the preparation. So I knew I was going to write this book in 30 days. So outlining the book really became almost essential to make sure that I knew where the story was heading, which characters were appearing in which chapters, and really kind of helped me to lay out the entire structure of the story, find the arcs, the highs and lows, the dark period, and whatnot. So it really just worked that way, and I think what the most important thing to take away from my process writing Pencil was I wrote every single day. Um, I set a goal for myself to write 1,500 words a day. I made sure that I plugged in days where I exceeded that beyond 1,500 words. So I would do what I would call marathon days, where on a Saturday afternoon I'd go and write for 4 or 5 hours. at a time. But really, the important thing was that every single day I was sitting down in front of my computer and pushing the story forward. I think taking breaks in between is really hard, and I think it takes me out of a story as I'm writing it. So the longer and more consistently that I can sit down and continue to write the story, the better. Um, that being said, there are times when someone experiences writer's block. So I know with my other novel, I took a break from writing it to write pencil. It was really hard to pick it back up. I had to get back into the story and feel comfortable with it. But for pencil in particular, because I wrote it in just a short period of time, I didn't necessarily have writer's block because anytime that I kind of felt like the story wasn't progressing or I was kind of getting a little unsure, I would go back to my outline, which really helped me kind of stay strict on the story I was trying to tell. And sure, I changed and updated that outline several times within the month, but I still had it to fall back on. So it was sort of empowering to know every time I sat down to write on any particular day that I knew where I left off. And also, another thing that actually helped me to kind of prevent writer's block, which I got from Ernest Hemingway, was I always stopped in the middle of a sentence. So when I sat back down to pick up my writing the next day, I kind of already had a stream of thought in process, and all I had to do was kind of pick it back up, and it kind of helped me carry forward and kind of gain that momentum as I wrote each night. Now, as far as my future is concerned, do I hope to publish more? Absolutely. So, Pencil is actually the first book in a trilogy. Right now, I'm going through the editing process of editing Pencil and then the other novel that I finished. So the next few months are sort of going to be consumed with editing. But after that, I've already started the pre-preparation process for the second Pencil novel. So I'll kind of take the same approach where I'll outline it and then sit down and start writing that probably around April or May of this year. And in the meantime, I'm going to edit the manuscripts that I have now and start submitting them to find representation and ultimately to find publishers. So it's a really exciting time for me as an author. Super great to actually write the end on 2 different manuscripts and then just kind of push that forward and become more established and just continue to write novels for the foreseeable future. So it's really, really exciting. And that is all I have for this interview. Thank you for letting me participate, and I hope that anyone watching this gains some insight into my process as a writer and really just my process as a creative person.